I'm sure many Nigerians on the streets are wondering, what does this physical document of 50 trillion naira estimate mean for the businessman, the trader, contractor, farmer, food vendor, and many others in the Nigerian economic value chain? The Director General of the Budget Office of the Federation, Tanimu Yakubu, well, not the Director General, joined us earlier. Now, I am delighted to have a Director General. I am delighted to have Okeowo. I'm delighted to have Gabriel Okeowo, the principal lead of BudgiT, a fiscal watchdog non-governmental organization here on Prime Time. Glad to have you join us on Prime Time, Gabriel.
Thank you very much. My pleasure to be here.
Good, wonderful. I don't know whether you listened to my discussion with Tanimu, the DG of the Budget Office of the Federation of Nigeria. But the budget has been presented, fine enough. The president says 2025 budget is geared towards, let's break it down, stabilizing the economy, laying a foundation for long-term growth. From what you have read, what you have heard, do you think that this holds water, the long-term growth and stabilizing the economy?
Thank you very much. This particular budget has been long awaited in the recent years. Proud to this administration, we were getting used to the budget being presented to the National Assembly much more earlier than it was last year when it was presented, I think on the 1st or 2nd of December, leaving the National Assembly about 28 days for them to review the budget before it was passed into law from the chambers, from both chambers. And then 2025 budget was just laid before the National Assembly today, today being 18th of December. And coming back to your question, if the long-term goal, if the all the words that Mr. President said today, if it is anything to go by, I would think that would start from a critical review of this budget. And if it is presented today, that already gives us a concern first to see how long or how well will this budget be reviewed, what amount of room will be available for consultation, for input, for public hearing, right? No matter how sweet and how lovely the intentions of the executive arm of government is, the constitutional provision is that that good intention be subject to review of the National Assembly. And by the National Assembly, it is that it should be subjected to the review of the people, right? This process, beginning from today or from tomorrow, now that the budget is now with the National Assembly, is meant to now give room for a wide public engagement and consultation on it. It is in those engagement and consultation that we'll be able to then see how lofty these ideas and the bold, intentions and statements that we have seen and heard today, how it's going to be, if it's going to give room for us to be able to critically look at all aspects, all line items, and see how that ties into the development agenda or the national development plan of the country on one hand, and then the goal and aspiration of this administration on the other hand. From what we have seen, speaking for the people, we are a people-centered organization. I'm going to say that the hopes are very high. And we really want to see the budget that works for the people and not for the selected few that are in government.
Now you're talking about the selected few. Someone once said that our budgets over the years have become a budget by the government for the budget of the government for the government by the government, that 85%, whether it's too high or too low, of the money goes back to the designers of the budget, whereas the remaining crumbs, as it were, goes to the private sector, who should be in the forefront of developing our economy. You heard me? Did you hear me, Gabriel? Well, I said I was discussing with some. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, good, fine, fantastic.
Yes, very well now.
Yeah, good, fantastic. That the budget over the years has always become a budget for the government, by the government, and not a budget for the private sector that should, cause the economy to grow. 85% goes back to the designers, while the crumbs go to the private sector. Do you agree?
Well, I'm not going to disagree with those that believe that the budget over the years has been the budget of the government for the government, because when you look, we have been doing some critical review of the budget over the past years, and what we have seen is not far from that assertion or from what you just mentioned. So, if you are making a budget that is people-centered, you are making a budget for the people, the start point is that you want to ensure that the critical needs of the people find their way into the budget. When we look at that, you will see several line items. And when we look at, when we consider what are the critical needs of the people, the budget will have two broad parts. One is on the revenue and expenditure, and then when you come to the expenditure, you then want to look at the recurrent and the capital expenditure, right? Most of the time, you see the recurrent expenditure will always go on. You will see everything that is required to keep the government going will always be done. Interestingly, today, I'm glad when Mr. President said that as of today, there has been 85% performance in terms of capital expenditure, which on the expenditure side, which looks good, but we hope that 85% will be more, that the same level of attention that has been given to the recurrent expenditure is also the same level of attention that has been given to capital expenditure, because by the time you strip the budget down, the parts that really affect the people, affect businesses, affect our development, affect the farmers, affect ordinary man on the streets is the capital expenditure part of the budget. And most of the time, we are going to be looking forward to the detailed budget implementation report for us to be able to analyze, some of the assertion of Mr. President today and see if truly this government has prioritized, the people, or the intention that Mr. President presented today to say this budget is a budget of restoration and that will promote security and prosperity. If we are going to see that in 2025, I believe that 2024 is a full year, right? We may not be able to judge Mr. President or his administration on 2023, considering that they came in halfway and it took them time to stabilize before they get a hold of the economy and kept it going. But 2024 will not be an excuse, because 2024 fiscal year is a full year for this administration, the first full years of this administration. So we are going to be looking forward to the details, of that budget implementation that he has mentioned, to be able to see that 85% on the expenditure side is 85% with equal attention to what service those in government, as well as what goes into the development that affects the ordinary Nigerians on the streets. Anything short of that, anything less than that, may then be far from, being true, to say that this administration or the government is prioritizing the people. We have seen a lot of development and infrastructure and fixing of road and all of that around, but until we get hold of the books to be able to, do a proper analysis, and then we'll be able to come to a proper conclusion.
Okay, Gabriel. In the coffers of the country, foreign reserves is increased by 42 billion. That's supposed to be good news. Billion dollars, good news, all right. But this is against the backdrop of a deficit of 15 trillion in this budget, where you're now spending more than you're earning. So why does this leave development?
Exactly. All the parameters of the budget that was presented today shows that we are practically doubling our projection, right? Coming from, Mr. President himself mentioned today, let's start from the revenue, right? As at Q3, according to Mr. President, our revenue capacity was about 14.4 thereabout trillion. And then we are making a projection of about 35 or 34 trillion. Yeah. That is practically doubling, the capacity. And one will wonder what is the backing for this bold statement. When you also look at expenditure, as at Q3, Mr. President himself asserted that 21.6 trillion has been spent on expenditure side, and then this new proposed budget that is presented is 47 or 49. From the Mr. President's speech, it was 47. From the budget document that is available on the website of the Budget Office of the Federation, it's 49 trillion. That's us taking is a very bold statement. It's a very bold ambition. And we won't fault that at this time, but we are going to look forward to a system, that ensures that this bold statement is not just statement to excite the emotions of Nigeria, but is a statement that this administration meant well for, and they are going to see it through to the end. And that will be an indication for us to be able to know if this statement or if this new budget is going to be a budget of restoration, as Mr. President said, if this new budget is going to promote prosperity. We are going to see from the review that will happen at the National Assembly, it's going to give us an indication. So, and that's why we are going to be waiting to see how much time, how much work, the depth and the quality that the National Assembly is going to put into this, to be able to, confirm and check through that every line item will speak to the to development, and every line item will really promote prosperity. As it is right now, it is really shaking. It is not, the hope is very slim for us right now. Everyone, both private sector, individuals, everyone, perhaps aside from those in the public sector, are not feeling the heat of this current economy.
Before we begin to let you go, what you have practically harped on is implementation of the budget, which has always been a sticking point for our budgets. Now, defense is going to take 4.91 trillion, and then, of course, infrastructure 4.08, but health and education comes lower down the ladder, 3.52 trillion for education. Why is education and health, taking the back seat? And then just talk about implementation of the budget, together, briefly. Go on.
Yes, over the years, you have always seen that defense will always top the table. And so we are not surprised to see defense high up there, to see infrastructure, and then health and education. There will always be, justification to say, all sector, all aspects of the economy or of our nation deserve, attention. We will always be particular about education and health because these are two critical social sectors that impact on human capacity development. And any nation that is going to restore hope, any nation that is going to build prosperity, any nation that is going to that looks forward to peace and security, we want to prioritize education, we want to prioritize health because the health of any economy is going to be dependent on the health of the people that runs that economy, right? As it is right now, we have not seen the full breakdown. We are going to begin to look into the full breakdown, and we hope that the National Assembly will give that room for consultation if and when we need to, advocate for review for increase in any of this sector, health, education, in particular, and any other critical sector of our economy.
We're going to have to leave it here. All right, Gabriel Okeowo, Principal Lead of BudgiT, a fiscal watchdog non-governmental organization there. Thank you so much for being on Arise Prime Time. Well, that's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Do join us again tomorrow. From me and the entire team here at BudgiT, goodbye and thank you for watching.